Leadership. What is it? What does it mean to be a leader? See, a leader isn't just something that you strive for. You don't strive to be a leader. A leader is someone who has a position given to them. I remember my first time being a leader. I was in a small church group. They asked me to run the group. I wasn't prepared, didn't want to, don't like speaking in front of people, never something I've been comfortable with. However, at that moment, the role of leadership was thrust upon me. I was tasked to take care of a large group of people, guide them into a place, an event, and get them through this event peacefully and soundly. That was my one goal, was to get a group of people through this event, making sure that everyone got back safely, making sure that everyone enjoyed it, and making sure that overall together we achieved the goal of making happiness and being happy and creative. I remember when I met my wife, our first real date, we went to a concert, Christian Music Festival. It was a concert. We get there early on a Thursday evening. I said, you know what, I'm going to take charge. I'm the man. I'm going to step up and lead us to this fun event. I'm going to set up this perfect date, have it all planned out in my head. This is how it's going to go. This is what's going to happen. I'm going to go to point A, point B, set up. And ultimately, we're going to get to the end goal, which is going to the concert. So naturally, I take the lead and I go, okay, we're going to get to this concert. The goal is to eat, go to this concert. So I tell my wife, hey, dress nice, like let's go. We both dress nice and we leave from where we're at and we start heading towards this concert. We get to where the restaurant is. The restaurant's closed. It's closed for remodeling. Mistake one as a leader. I didn't check my bases. I didn't check all aspects of leadership. As a leader, you need to be able to identify every situation. You need to make sure that as a leader, every situation is going to go through. You need to be able to, as the gentleman spoke in the earlier TED Talk during the class, check your harnesses. Make sure before you leave that when you land, you're going to land safely and sound. So my wife and I get to this restaurant. It's closed. So now we're not going to eat. Next thing is like, okay, well, we're dressed nice. Let's get to this event. We're at a location. It's outdoors. It's at a park in Atlanta called Stone Mountain. So we go to this event. We begin walking towards where we think the event is. I look at a map and I'm like, oh, I'm the leader. I'm the guy. I could read a map, no problem. And I said, I think it's this way. Let's head this way. Let's keep going. As we started walking, we started talking to each other, and I began to think to myself, we should have been there by now. And so we kept walking. I looked at the map, and I noticed that we were about to come upon a bridge. Well, on the map, that bridge wasn't there. So, naturally, I didn't recognize that I was making a mistake. I said, hey, if I just keep pressing, we'll get there. We kept walking. And as we kept walking, I noticed the ground turned from asphalt and street into mountain-like material, marble, granite, like hard material underneath our feet. We began to climb, and now we're at the point where it's almost too far to turn around, and I think, oh, we'll get there eventually. I could hear the music off in the distance. The concert has started, but if I could hear the music, we're getting closer. Finally, we get about halfway up the mountain, realizing that we're nowhere near where we need to be. Everybody's in jogging clothes, workout clothes, jogging the mountain, walking the mountain. Here we are, and she's in a nice dress. I'm in a shirt and tie and a sports coat. And we are nowhere near where we looking very out of place. As we're walking down, it starts to rain. Once again, as a leader, I didn't prepare for this. And knowing Georgia weather, it's going to rain at any given chance during the summer. So we began walking back. As we're walking back, I got nauseous and started to feel overheated because I'm wearing a sports coat, a shirt, and a tie, and we've been walking for about a mile and a half by now. I started feeling nauseous, stopped, had to take a moment to catch my breath, and mind you, this is our first date. So we start walking back. Well, then it pours down rain. It goes from sprinkling to the heavens opened up and we're getting soaked. So, long story short, we're bumming a ride from a police officer to get back to where we were staying so that way we could get out of the rain. Never saw the concert, never got anything to eat. We ended up just ordering room service when we got back to where we were. And see, being a leader means acknowledging your mistakes. At the time, I didn't acknowledge my mistakes. At the time, I constantly was beating myself up. And for years afterwards, I beat myself up with the idea of, if I'd have done this, if I'd have done that, if I'd have made this move, if I'd have done a little bit more research, then we would have never been in that situation. But a leader doesn't focus on what if. A leader focuses on how to. Okay? How to improve. Not what if I had done this, but how do I improve on the mistake that I made. Acknowledging your mistakes is what a leader does. Secondly, a leader understands where they messed up. A leader has compassion for those that he's leading. If he's messed up, if he's led them astray, he apologizes. He steps up. He takes responsibility because that's compassion. Compassion is feeling for your employees, your leader, the people that you're leading. I work in a position of management. If I mess up, the first thing I do is apologize. Because I care about them and I want them to know that I care about them. I'm sorry, I'll try to fix it, make it better. The third thing a leader needs to do is be mindful. Be aware of what's going on around him. Be aware of the people you're leading. Be aware of their personalities. Be aware of their temperament. Be aware of where you're at and making sure you don't step in the wrong place. As with my story when we were walking up the mountain, I wasn't looking at the map. I was looking at the map, but I wasn't paying attention. I was just blindly walking. As a leader, you can't just blindly walk. You need to know exactly where you're going. You can't just plan it out in your head. You need to have a plan on paper. And lastly, as a leader, I believe you can't focus on the end goal the entire time. You have to focus on the step. If you're climbing a set of stairs, you can't think, oh, I'm going to get to the top now. You got to take it one step at a time. See, a good leader doesn't focus on the big picture the entire time. A good leader makes the small stuff, does the small stuff right. The more you take care of the small stuff, the big stuff comes into picture. Because ultimately, the small things are what leads to the big picture. That is what being a leader is. A leader is focusing on how to get better. A leader is focusing on taking fault for what they do wrong. And a leader is someone who works on the small details, knowing that they make up the bigger picture. When building a puzzle, you have to make sure every piece is there, every piece is put together. One piece is not there, then the picture is never complete. The smallest piece can make the picture incomplete. So as a leader, you need to make sure and focus on doing the right thing, being the right person, and taking care of yourself most of all.